of the influence of Francis Welsing and Elise Galati. And I thank them from the bottom of my heart for that blessing. I cannot properly introduce her because you know her credentials. Any words that I would have to say would be probably just not even nearly close to the magnitude as well as the gratitude that we owe this woman. Last year, I gave a few words in the form of a prose, and I think I'll just abbreviate those and do it a little bit again this year. Well, brothers and sisters, it seems only right that on this Saturday night that we would be in this place to finally get the record straight. Our ancestors have given us the right to sing the praises of one Francis Welsing. She told the story, the Melanin story she told that made us know that we were so bad, so black, and so bold. Praises be to Francis Welsing. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am thrilled to be here at the 4th Annual Melanin Conference. I hope my eyes don't look too tired. I was in New Orleans before, but here I am. I feel that the ancestors have been invoked this evening, and I feel that they have given me the charge, and they continue to give me the charge to recruit for the Army of Justice, to recruit males and females and males that are going to take their melanin selves and lead this army that is going to end the greatest injustice that has ever been on the planet Earth. And that is the injustice of racism and the injustice of white supremacy. An injustice that I maintain began because some people had the misfortune not to have melanin. I was going to entitle my remarks, "The Gold Mine of Melanin." There is a gold mine in melanin, but we have a problem that we have to solve before there can be the full expression of the power of melanin. And recently, I've got my board up here so I can go to work. Recently, I have begun to think about our task in terms of a pyramid. And really, we can call this army of justice, we can really begin to call ourselves the pyramid builders. And at the top of this pyramid, we have justice. And we've got this eye at the top of the pyramid. And we can talk about that in a little while. But I say that at the base of the pyramid is the dynamic of truth. Truth revealed. Truth revealed about racism and about white supremacy. At this next level, going up this pyramid, we have to place understanding. Because we not only have to reveal truth, but we have to have an understanding in depth of what it is that we have revealed. And then we have all of the areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Those are the areas of people activity through which we have to express our understanding and our knowledge of truth. Atop the areas of people activity, the next level has to do with what has happened to us. And what has happened to us is that we have learned to despise and to hate melanin. And as a result of that, we do not have unity, and we do not have the force and power that we need to bring about justice. Some of the forms of that hate are reflected in patterns of behavior such as gossiping, name-calling, squabbling with one another, cursing one another, being discourteous, being disrespectful, stealing from one another, robbing one another, fighting one another, killing one another, using and selling drugs to one another. This is the power of racism and the power of white supremacy. Throwing down trash, making children believe that they can be adequate mothers and fathers leading to teen pregnancy, pretending that racism does not exist. And then we're going to put at the next layer of the pyramid some things that we were taught in the principles of Ron Kawenga, some things that we need to focus on. I may not have them in order, and if I forget any of them, help me out. Unity, purpose, creativity, faith, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, and cooperative economics. That's it, isn't it? Okay. Don't anybody come up here and try to read this. I hope you're making notes. You won't be able to read this. Atop that, we are going to put something from the work of Neely Fuller, the 4 uses of time for the victims of white supremacy. He has suggested and recommended that we discipline ourselves and use our time, energy in 4 ways and 4 ways alone. Number 1 is constructive conversation. Constructive conversation is discussions about racism and how we're going to solve the problem of white supremacy. Constructive activity, that means building, repairing, making, entrepreneuring, all kinds of things that are constructive activity. 3, sufficient eating and sleeping, and hold your seats. Sexual intercourse no more than twice a week so you stop worrying about it. Is everybody with that? Now this is what we are trying to achieve. It is a difficult task, but so was it difficult to build the original pyramid? Lifting those gigantic stones that constructed the original pyramids is something akin to what it is that we must do to bring about this revolution so that there is justice on the planet and that there is peace in the universe. I want this army that I am attempting to recruit to be able to go out, each and every soldier, to be able to go out into the world, wherever it is that they travel, wherever it is that they live, and to share knowledge and understanding of racism. I think that one of our greatest challenges and one of the things that is going to bring us very great results is that when we use the word racism, to be able to say exactly and very clearly what it is that we are talking about. Simply to use the R word is not sufficient, because people will come along and say, well, you're saying that I'm racist, and I'm saying that you're racist. Everybody's a racist, right? No. Racism means white supremacy, and we can go on to detail it from that point. I say that racism is a global system of behavior organized by persons who classify themselves as white, whether consciously or subconsciously determined. The goal objective is for white genetic survival on the planet Earth and to prevent white genetic annihilation. Because on this planet, the vast majority of people have melanin in their skins, and they are black, brown, red, and yellow. All of those people are genetically dominant compared to people who classify themselves as white. Now that's very long-winded, but I certainly hope that we can begin to master that definition or some definition of racism so that when we use that word, we can say, this is what we're talking about. And if you're talking to someone who classifies him or herself as white, and then you challenge them and you say, not a hostile challenge, an intellectual, analytical challenge, and you say, what is the definition that you use? He said, racism is also all over the world. There is no place on planet Earth where racism defined as white supremacy does not exist. It is everywhere. He went further to say, unlike Karl Marx, who said that economics caused racism, Neely Fuller turned that upside down and said that the system of white supremacy establishes specific patterns of behavioral activity. Everything that is done 24 hours a day by this collective is for the purpose of establishing, maintaining, expanding, and refining white supremacy. So when I heard this gentleman say that, my brain computer said, that man is really saying something. And I wondered what would cause them to establish this behavioral dynamic, that it seemed the places that I had been on planet Earth, the few places that I had been, every place, this system was intact. I remember when I first went to Europe, I thought, well, it probably won't be there. It was there. When I went to Mexico, it was there. Go to the Bahamas, it is there. It is everywhere. Okay? So I said, why? What would cause it? And I came to the conclusion that what was producing this global pattern of behavior that was causing us to have so much grief was the fact that on this planet, 1/10 of the people have white skin, 9/10 of the people are black, brown, red, and yellow. And the black, brown, red, and yellow people, unlike the propaganda that the people who classify themselves as white, they were busy telling us that it was the black, brown, red, and yellow people who were genetically inferior, but indeed it was they who were feeling genetically inadequate because all of the black, brown, red, and yellow people are genetically dominant in terms of skin coloration to the people who are classified as white. So around the 13th, 14th century, or after the people who left Europe and circumnavigated the planet and found out that every place they landed, the people were colored. There was no place outside of Europe where there were people who were classified as white. Everybody on planet Earth was colored, and if these white male persons in these little boats stopped and had sexual intercourse with the ladies of color and waited for 9 months, they found out about genetic dominance without having a big genetics laboratory. They found that all of the children, when you mix white plus black, white plus brown, white plus red, white plus yellow, equals colored. They also found that white was genetically annihilated. By the time they circumnavigated the planet and found that there were non-white people or people of color everywhere on the planet, they understood that they had a very, very serious problem, and that serious problem, very good. Everybody should go to their library, and I believe it is April 9th, the April 9th issue of Time magazine, because their cover said, what is going to happen when whites are no longer the majority one, because they are talking about things are going to change for us, and that there are going to be some serious problems that we are going to face. And in addition to having that statement on the cover of the magazine, the picture itself was very, very interesting. If you will recall, there was a picture of a flag. Do you recall it? And the flag basically was the so-called American flag. It had blue in the corner, but it didn't even have white stars. The stripes, in place of the red and white stripes, they had a red stripe and then a black stripe, and then another red stripe, and then a brown stripe, and then another red stripe, and then a yellow stripe. And I saw this and I said, wonderful. But I said wonderful for another reason. I said wonderful because I had written a paper some time ago talking about the symbolism of the flag. And I had said that those colors, red, white, and blue, had another level of meaning other than patriotism. That the red, white, and blue on the flag actually stood for white skin, through which you could see blue veins and red arterioles. And so that is the reason that most of the flags that represent people who classify themselves as white are either white and blue or white and red or red, white, and blue. Think about it. Now beyond that, I said that the flag was a symbolic abstraction of the problem. And the problem when there's a concern about genetic power is the power of the male. The reason being is because it is only men, whether they are white, black, brown, red, or yellow, that can impose sexual intercourse. Is that right? See that silence? People are trying to figure whether that's right. Okay. It is only men who can impose sexual intercourse. A male can decide that he is going to force a female to have sexual intercourse. Ladies, don't try it. If a female decides that she's going to force the male to have sexual intercourse and she gets a Uzi or M16 rifle and she approaches him and she frightens him to death, there's not going to be any performance. Okay. Right? Right. Okay. So that the question about genetic dominance is a question that concerns gentlemen. And so I said in the paper that I wrote some time ago that if you look, that's the, head-on front view of male genitalia, but this is a lateral view. And if you make an abstraction, and the brain makes abstractions all the time, I guess that's a very good way that it can store a whole lot of data. And if you make an abstraction of the lateral view of the male genitalia, you have a flag. Can you see that? All right. So that when the flag is red, white, and blue, it means that a testicle produces white skin through which you can see blue veins and red arterioles. You get it? So Time magazine just proved my point, and I was thrilled because they took the white out and put on the flag black, brown. Do you understand? And I bet if I went and found that artist, he would say, no, that isn't what that is. Okay, but the ex-president, Ronald Reagan, in his past autobiography entitled, Where is the Rest of Me? That's the name of it. But he said that when he was born, he said his father was a first-generation black Irishman. But his father said that when Reagan was born, that his skin was white, his bottom was red, and his face was blue. And ever since then, the red, white, and blue has been significant and important to him. But can you see, I don't think he really understood males, which is why there was a song saying a long time ago, the old flag can never touch the ground. Because if the flag was indeed the symbol of the testicles, if a testicle touches the ground, it means that there has taken place a castration. Do you follow? Okay. So, job, run this down.